Good evening. My name is Jordan Walston, and the title of my essay is Pimps and Hoes, Modern-Day Enslavement of Women. First, let's begin with some background information. A pimp is a man who takes ownership of his prostitute and sells her body to different clients, in return receiving an exchange of money. 90% of the women involved in prostitution were interviewed by Whisper. Women hurt in systems of prostitution engaged in revolt admitted that they had pimps while they were prostitutes. Argumentative stance. In my essay, I argued that the nature of the relationship that exists between prostitutes and their procurers undoubtedly resembles and mimics slave masters and black women, thus creating the modern institution of slavery itself. I believe that this was done firstly through a misogynistic approach and treatment. In the first video from the documentary Pimps Up, Hoes Down, you will see how the pimps approached the prostitutes off firsthand.
But if you fuck with me, you serve to spoil, you know what I'm saying?
In this video, you will see how he pays close attention to her body and what she has to offer. He first approaches her as, "Hey cutie, I like them light bright, almost white." He pays no attention to what her name is, where she belongs, who she comes from, and how she got involved inside the institution in the first place. In this second video, from the movie 12 Years a Slave, you will see how the interactions between the pimp and the prostitute and the slave auctioneer and the slave are quite similar.
Follow me, please. Yes. Inspector Matchell letter, but I asked you to pay particular regard to young Ezra here. And to play sound. I've never seen anything quite like him.
As you can see, the man pays close attention to the man's body parts, touching on his body to see which parts of him best fit. The slave auctioneers are not concerned with what the slaves have to offer, but more about how they look and how they will work on the fields. Misogynistic approach and treatment continued. I also believe that slave owners and pimps both make their prostitutes and slaves feel as if they need to be dependent on the slave owner. Because the prostitutes remain in poverty most times, they are dependent on their pimp to help them find places to stay, clothes to wear, and food to eat for their children. Like so, in slavery, as you can see in this picture, the slaves are dependent on their master to feed them, clothe them, and shelter them. Next, I'll go on to cruel and demeaning punishment. I believe that in the first picture and in the second picture, both the slave owners take advantage of the prostitutes and the slaves. As you can see in the first picture, it says pimp hand. The pimp hand is strong in this one. Most pimps came up with the term recognized as pimp slapping. This became a term from pimps physically abusing their prostitutes in order to gain power over them and control. In the second picture, you can see the slave master whipping and beating the slave. This is done because the slave master wants for the slave to know that he is in control, just like the pimp. Lastly, I focused on manipulation. One prostitute that was interviewed recounted her story as a prostitute. In her testimony, she recalls how she thought that her boyfriend was trying to help her, but later she realized that he was only manipulating her into becoming a prostitute to earn money for himself. Moreover, as most slaves can see, the slave masters manipulate the women into sleeping with them and becoming their mistresses so that they can help their children be free. In conclusion, I believe that prostitution is a new form of slavery. As citizens and human beings, we need to come together to address these issues before history begins to repeat itself. Lastly, here are my sources. Thank you.